On October 28th, MPBN will broadcast the Your Vote 2010 gubernatorial debate with all 5 candidates for the Blaine House. During the past few weeks, we've been introducing you to the candidates one by one. On this show, our final conversation with a candidate, independent Shawn Moody. Moody owns and operates Moody's Collision Centers in southern Maine and has never before run for political office. Shawn, welcome to Maine Watch.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I'm
Pleasure to be here.
Start with the same question I ask all the candidates. Why do you want to be governor?
Well, obviously we're facing very difficult, challenging times here in the state. I love the state, grew up here, and I raised our family here. And we do have a successful business, thank you, and a successful life, but I guess my conscience says it's time to step up and take responsibility for the future of Maine, and I feel I'm up to that challenge.
Great. What do you think? I mean, this whole campaign seems to be about jobs. What do you think the role of state government should even be in creating jobs? And then would you do that as governor?
Well, I think statistically we've created more private sector jobs in the whole state of Maine in the last 9 years. I think it's created 56 new net jobs, and we've created more than that ourselves, just our small business. So we're 33 years in small business. It's lived, breathed, and slept it. And all you think about is growth. How are we going to grow? How are we going to grow? So I think bringing the confidence of a business person to the Blaine House restores the business confidence that we have in the state today, to know that that person knows what we're up against. It'll help make the changes in the tax structure and the regulatory environment so that business can succeed in the state of Maine.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions for you. Do you believe last year the legislature passed a tax reform package, and then it was, as you know, rejected by the voters? Do you believe Maine's tax structure needs to be reformed, and if so, how so?
There's no question. A couple of specific examples. The Section 179, the IRS allows up to $250,000 in capital investment, and you can depreciate that in 1 year if you'd like. The state caps it at $25,000. So that's obviously not pro-business. Another one is a loss carry forward. If you had a tough year last year and you lost, say, $20,000 in your small business, you can carry that loss to offset a gain this year to get you at zero, to avoid having to pay the taxes on a tough year. State doesn't allow that, but the federal government does. So that's 2 specific examples of what we need to change right off the bat to make business friendly, create that business friendly environment in the state of Maine.
Do you think that there needs to be tax reform that takes some of the burden off the property tax and shifts it to something else, whether it's sales tax or something else?
Well, I think given the forecasted budget deficit, I think if we can hold the line on property tax increases right now, that's a good realistic goal. It'd be nice to say we're going to cut taxes, but I think at this point we're really going to have to try to hold the line on the taxes that we currently have in Maine and reduce the size and scope of state government, lower our overhead, if you will, and then raise revenue by reigniting Maine's small business community and business in general.
You would like to really focus efforts on reducing the high school dropout rate.
Correct.
And making college more affordable for kids. How do you do that, though, without raising taxes? I mean, how do you pay for those kind of initiatives?
Right. Well, I think the dropout rate is really not an initiative, it's knowing. I worked co-op the last 2 years I was in high school, so I actually got credit for working and graduated with my class. So a lot of these young adults have tremendous capabilities, skills, talents, they're creative, but we're not meeting their needs. Maybe they don't want to go to college right then at this point in their life. So we've got to create co-op opportunities where they can work and get credit for it, give them the best vocational choices and opportunities, and we've got to discover that at a young age, like freshman, sophomore year. We can't wait till they're seniors to discover that they've left the system and it's too late to get them back. So my expertise and background is perfectly aligned with giving these young people the choices that they need to be successful.
How do we make Maine's university system less expensive? I mean, the tuition rates have been going up in part because the funding's not coming from elsewhere.
That's correct. And it's a real challenge, it is. But again, you take the educational system and you can implement lean business practices to consolidate some of the backroom office functions, like human resource, payables, receivables, payroll, things like that don't have any impact on the student in the classroom. That's where you find those savings. So you can lower the cost of tuition. And let's face it, if you can get Maine's, another important thing, Jennifer, is to align the educational system with the jobs that we have in Maine. Too often right now we're educating our young adults in the state of Maine for jobs that don't exist in the state. So there's a real private-public partnership opportunity to align our business needs, current business needs, and job that we have in the state of Maine with our educational certificates and degrees.
So you don't advocate anything radical like shutting down one of the UMaine,
Right.
one of the campuses,
No.
or combining the community colleges?
I don't think that's really, they have two very different and distinct roles. Community college serves, more technical aspects, career employment, and the University of Maine is more higher degrees, in science, engineering, and things of that nature. So two different mission statements, but we can consolidate some of the administrative, I don't know if we need deans at every campus, and there's a lot of administrative savings, economies of scale, if you will, that don't affect the quality of the education in the classroom.
Do you believe that Maine should continue the Dirigo Health Plan that has been in place now, I think, 4 years?
Yes, no, I don't. That's what I call look the other way leadership. To implement Dirigo Health, we've got a real problem with just having one predominant health insurer in the state of Maine. That was the real problem we needed to fix before we started something new. We need to create competition. There's over 100 auto insurance companies in the state of Maine. There's only one real predominant healthcare insurer in the state of Maine. We need competition to lower cost and give people more choices. So we would phase out Dirigo and roll that in now. I guess with the new Healthcare Reform Act, we're able to do that, to roll that into to what's going to become the 2014 plan. So people aren't left stranded, but we certainly would roll that in, phase it out.
Okay. If you're elected governor, what would be your very first legislative priority?
It would be healthcare reform.
Really?
It really would. It's the cost of healthcare. If you take New Hampshire, take the mandates that they have in New Hampshire and their structure, they have 14 insurance companies over there, and their cost is about 30% less than Maine. Let's implement that structure and those mandates in the state of Maine through the legislative process so that we can create that competition and lower our healthcare costs.
Well, what specific mandates, does Maine have that you believe need to go so that the insurance market will be more competitive? What are we doing that New Hampshire is not?
One specific one is they have what they call experience-rated plans, and you have to have 50 coworkers or more to fall into that category. So the majority of businesses in Maine are less than 50 people. Well, you can't get an experience-rated plan. So it'd be like trying to insure your car without them being able to run your driver record. So you can't see the loss history of your coworkers. So we would definitely waive those barriers so that companies with 3 coworkers or 5 coworkers can see what their loss history is, implement wellness programs, HSAs, and get the benefits of that to create a healthy and productive work environment. And those are the habits that people take home.
Well, Shawn Moody, thank you so much for coming on to Maine Watch, and we'll see you October 28th for the debate.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jennifer.